All right. So, good evening, or good morning, good afternoon, wherever you may be in the world. Welcome to Sync Podcast, Visionary Voices, our mission with Sync Consultants. So we have a social entrepreneur, ex Tesla engineer. I'm really excited to meet him today. CEO of Voccent, right? Operating at the crossroads of language and GovCon. So EQ, language, EQ, and GovCon. So this episode is about actionable lessons for founders eyeing federal markets, emerging regions, and also emerging regions like Africa, right? So that's a place that Victor will kind of tell us about today, right? So Victor, take us back to your aha moment. What pain point convinced you to launch Voxent?
Yeah. Hi, everyone.
Right.
The best pain point that can convince you to launch anything is the pain point that you experience yourself, right? So, contrary to many other things that have started in my life, in my previous startups, language learning was a showstopper for me when we moved to United States in 2014. So I decided, okay, I need to come up with something that will prove that I'm a good engineer because I have to restart my life from zero to hero. And I decided, okay, I'm an engineer again. What do I do? I have no language. So I decided that I will create a kind of a portfolio website where one would go record their voice and then record it again, and the system would compare using digital signal processing comparison algorithms. And things started to develop. And then over time, I noticed that none of the products that I ever used before actually work out for me very well, uh, because it's not the reading and writing that was an issue that you can learn yourself, no
Right.
matter if you have talents in languages or not. It's the listening and speaking, and also emotional mimicking was a tough place to go. So I decided, okay, I need to work on that, and that was my biggest pain point. That's how we started.
All right. So, so GovCon isn't the first place entrepreneurs like yourself think of, when you think about language tech, right? So why did you target the federal markets and public safety buyers early on in your startup?
Why did I or why didn't I?
Why did you?
Oh, why did? Well, so um, we started in 2019.
Right.
And that was a while back. And after that, we pivoted many things. We never wiped anything that we created, but we always were building our system with the side of us building a platform. So it's a platform. And obviously, whenever you're building a platform, the application of your platform is a little bit wider than you would expect.
Right.
Governments, and depends on how would you treat governments. What is government? By government, some people would assume Department of Defense or certain agencies. Schools are also government, right? Also, certain countries are government too. In Africa, for example, we were more, for us, it was more convenient to go after, for example, um, Gambia as a whole country and talk to uh, Ministry of Education for the whole country because that was just a bigger footprint and the country itself is pretty small. In Uganda, it was the same concept. In the United States, a little bit more complex. So government is slow, and every single government takes a while to get to penetrate through. But we're never trying to get into B2C, regular consumers, even though we do have this in our system and we do advertise us as B2C language learning or training. But governments just have bigger footprint, bigger impact, and you got the feedback almost immediately. So, and resources a little bit bigger. Now,
Awesome.
public safety. What did you ask about public safety?
Right. Right. So great. So thank you for that. So I mean, you recently landed a countrywide contract in Gambia, like you said, right? And or we're probably pushing something in maybe the country Ghana also federal and Ghana area. So what does expansion in Africa looks like on the ground?
Yeah, absolutely. So in Gambia, Um, our deliverables, we have signed memorandum of understanding. Countries are not signing contracts. Countries are signing a little bit more complex documents, right? And MOU is something that is in place with Gambia. We never aimed ourselves as money-making machine for Gambia because it does make any sense there. Just think about it. Lots of organizations in the United States and other countries send would send money to developing countries like Gambia, and then another company, startup from the United States, would pull this money back. It just
Right.
doesn't sound right. So what we decided to do is we we're actually trying to create a bridge. One of the schools that we're working with is Charles John Memorial Academy. They have 5,500 people, 5,500 people, students. And what we do is we provide them service for free. Our ecosystem is very, very efficient. 5,000 people for us is just like nothing. And our capacity for Africa right now is 50 million people, and we're growing. So we are totally fine adding up more students for free. Now, what they do is they do use content that was created for a particular set of languages and for a particular set of skills.
Right.
We're not only language learning, we also Oracy training platform. What is Oracy is exactly where I struggle. People have to be able to communicate at least in one language. And we provide them with the content, but also they create their own content. And this content is being shared amongst different other regions in Africa and outside of Africa. And you would say, who cares? Well, it turns out people do care. Uh, Internally, we have a few white papers running around our company. We're a small company under 50 employees. And what we noticed is during our A/B testing, if person knows that the content that she or he is learning was created by a machine, even though it's impeccable, just absolutely 100%, you wouldn't notice, you don't see the difference because they know that this machine, maybe it's a real-time content, maybe you're pretending that you're talking to someone else, or maybe you just know that it was pre-recorded for you by machine using maybe some human being's power, but still, they're just not learning because they have the respect. Now, if you would imagine people in, let's say, India, uh, Uttar Pradesh, right? And we have few customers, and these customers downloading content, they want to learn French.
Right.
And Gambia is very big on French. You would say, what do they know? Well, I mean, some people there, they speak French in an extremely high level, like I would say Ivy League level of French. And obviously, we could have go France and find some people there, but in Gambia, they're already creating this content. This content is being shipped to Uttar Pradesh, and people in Uttar Pradesh in India learning this content because know exactly that this content was created by human beings. So that's one of the benefits of the platform. That's how we roll these days. Maybe something will change tomorrow.
Okay, so let's talk a little bit about Voccent. So uh I'm just trying to make sure I get that point clear. So you guys started in 2019, is that right?
Yeah, so 2019 was very changing year for us. First of all, uh, my career at Tesla started, and my promise to my employer was that I'm not going to work on my startup during the 5 days a week time, and that makes sense because the project was extremely complex, and next few projects at Tesla were even more complex and interesting.
Okay.
And um, then when COVID kicked in and the company was growing in the background while I was contributing my weekends and some other free time, like Christmas time, something like that, we were growing. And when COVID ended and we would have to make a decision, I'm coming back to office or I continue doing my company and committing myself 100% to Voccent, I decided, okay, it's time. So, uh, 5 years, just, they just flew like in a second. But in 2019, it was very simple concept. We were essentially working on our audio algorithm or set of algorithms, and that was what we were committed 100%. Like the whole team were building everything from scratch, mobile apps from scratch, web from scratch, and the audio engine, as we call it, right? So
Right.
that thing took us a while to build. but now we own it. And this is good.
Right. Awesome, awesome. So right now, Voccent, I know you said you have about under 15 employees. Is that under
50,
15 employees?
yeah, 50. We have full-time employees. We have people who work with us from our previous startups since 2007. Uh, our, I know that lots of companies talking about this is in our DNA. So, what's in our DNA? I don't like this phrase, but what's in our DNA is we share the same mission of creating good products and people working with us for a long time.
Right.
Uh, and I'm thinking every single person in the company is very verticalized. So we literally do appreciate ownership. And then obviously when you need to scale up or scale down using some external contractors, and these contractors are contributing as well, and most of them would stay or roll to other startups that I own. So that's the concept.
Okay, so this is an interesting part, right? So you run a debt-free you run a debt-free and pay only for delivery value company. I mean, this is amazing, and it's a startup. Mostly startup you run out of money or you have to get money. I mean, can you give us some I would say some pointers into like what needs to happen when you actually want to do thrive your company you want your company to thrive and you can do that also with not taking any loan or anything from
Yeah, no,
the
absolutely.
organization.
Absolutely.
Sure.
This actually, that time when I want to say this is a great question because usually people wouldn't ask about that. And usually there are lots of stereotypes that, oh, you're making your company, create a pitch deck, create a business plan, use a business plan to talk about business failures, create a prototype, POC, MVP, MVVP, all these books that written by people who start one company
Mhm.
and then they keep writing this book about this one company and they never start the second company, right? I'm
Right.
not going to go into names, but okay, that's one. Opportunity number two is if you're an engineer, for example, or maybe you're a good cook, you decided to go with coffee shop, right?
Right.
Why don't you cook for yourself for a while, right? Why don't you if you're an engineer, why don't you write some code like crazy, not few lines of codes as they say these days. You know this term vibe coding?
Right.
VCs would tell you like, "Hey, Donald, but you don't need money," and you're like, "Man, I need money," and you're like, "No, you don't need money. You just go GPT and code," and because everyone does it, it's just you'll essentially create not very high quality code. Plus, you wouldn't be able to target and ask main questions as well, right? So,
Right.
what we've done is we created satellite company, and the satellite company uh, were extremely good in reselling the best tag that we created at Voccent at scale. For example, I will come up with an example. Imagine that you're at point checkpoint 7. Just imagine that there's checkpoint 7. Obviously, preceding checkpoints are 6, 5, and 4. And point 7 is deployed at Voxen. And it's absolutely amazing. Something is working, some kind of a framework. It doesn't matter if you're building your airline companies or maybe software company, but at point 7, you have certain set of framework that works for you.
Right.
Well, it is okay to sell certain that worked before at point 5 or 6 to other customers for maybe building something else. You're not going to compete with this company, you're building something else, but the framework is the same. That's the pattern that we follow. We said, okay, if we are good engineers, and we are very good engineers, maybe we are not very good businessmen, but we are very good engineers. So we build something, we would sell it at scale, and then we build next, and we upgrade the previous thing, and that's why we have multiple companies, and two companies are working together to deliver the best product. Also, we are absolutely 100% transparent with our customers. We will tell them that, look, we're building a system, and this system will be creme de la creme in language learning and Oracy training, HR, and now public safety. And certain technologies from this stack are for sale. We are not going to recreate it for you for free. We would have charged you 100 grand or something and lie to you that, hey, we have to create it from scratch. We don't have to create it from scratch. We'll do an integration and support. And that's what we've done multiple times. We cloned this success. And because it's the same system that your engineers already know,
Right.
You just keep maintaining something that you're already maintaining 24/7. That's it, no secret. Now, why am I against borrowing money? If you, if I would be an investor and one would ask me, hey, can you give me half a mil or maybe a mil as a seed? I'm totally fine doing that. But it just, the question then is, if person who has no experience in certain domain is
Right.
building a startup that will be delivering to the certain domain, if I would give you this money, then it's just an experiment. If you already have your market and you already have something and you already made some money and you need this money to scale your business, then something wrong with the efficiency of your business because you shouldn't be scaling your business already, right? So seeding is essentially, my personal opinion, seeding makes no sense in 2025.
Mhm.
People are very efficient with whatever they do, and uh, engineers are extremely efficient with all this code and code AI systems, right? So that's why. Now, for huge companies, if you're building an airport, you can't just build your airport by yourself, right? That doesn't make any sense. That's where you probably need money. But for SaaS, software as a service, platform as a service, all these kind of companies, it just, spend a little bit more time. Maybe you will launch 1 year after, but you are not going to have any honeymoon conversations with the investors like, hey, we wanted to do that, but we need a little bit more time. Can you give us a little bit more money? And then you made your first meal and you got to your point where you're not small business anymore. You're making your money and you're like, yay, I'm rich. No, you're not. Now you have to put this money back plus dividends, plus maybe they'll ask you to do an exit. So think twice about this. I would rather say uh, don't go after investments, especially for software business. Find good partners. I am extremely lucky with people. Maybe I'm not very lucky in poker or gambling or something else. I don't like gambling, but
Mhm.
I'm super lucky with human beings. And every single human being, starting from Gambia up to India, up to Indonesia, up to Japan, up to Slavic countries, United States, Brazil, these connections and every single person who works with us from Ecuador, this is our chest with wealth. I mean, why would we need VCs? That's that's why we
Right.
don't have any VCs.
Wow. So your customers are literally global, or it seems like. Can you just give us some where are your customers?
Or I can tell you where we don't have any customers. We don't have any customers. Like the most efficient way to register B2C customers is through their registrations, download sites, and push notifications. Those people who would enable their push notification. Push notification by far is the most efficient way to figure out where your customers are coming from.
Right.
And we are super transparent about that. Some people would say, "Yeah, I don't know, I don't want to have any push again." But we have zero push notifications in Greenland.
Okay.
Uh, we have one user somewhere in Antarctica, and we have not well few islands in Oceania have like zero, like absolute nothing. Maybe they just offloading traffic to somewhere else. Uh,
Okay.
so yeah, every other country except for those countries that are sanctioned or not working with the global internet, like North Korea. North Korea has obviously zero customers. So those are essentially zeroed out. We did have few connection attempts from China, mainland China, and like thousands of those. But because we are not advertising and officially we are not working in China with our product right now, maybe something will change tomorrow. I would say it's very hard to use our product from China because of internet, Great Chinese firewall limitations, a few other things. But I guess few people right on the edge of Hong Kong using tricky VPNs, and they're probably learning certain languages, including Thai language, English language, a couple of others. We ran some stats from Hong Kong. Um, Other countries are more or less developed. In Africa, if you would ask, we are in a big presence in Ethiopia, Uganda, Kenya, South Africa, and radius of maybe 1,000 kilometers around these places. these countries that I named, and obviously Gambia and everything about Gambia uh, and surroundings of Gambia to the east.
Wow, awesome, awesome. Because when you give me all these regions and are you sure? Because yeah, you sure you're a small business? Because you're
Well,
literally
100%, we're a
everywhere.
small business. I'm telling you, this is a stereotype. You can go crazy. Uh, Remember this game, Flappy Bird? The guy, absolutely talented engineer, created in China, and
Right.
he was making like 50 grand or something in 24 hours.
Wow.
And he is not a small business now, right? Because if
Right.
you do the calculation, eventually he would go over 5 million a year, but it's just one man company. Contrary, I know lots of uh, companies, even from our competition, who claim that they have 200 employees, authors, content creators, lots of things, and they making 2 million a year. Well, technically, I would say they are still small business.
Right.
So
Right.
it just world is different now.
Right. So you have about 50 employees and where are you in your let's say valuation last year in terms of revenue? Are you within that 2 million, under 2 million or 5 million or 10 million where you see Voxent actually trending in 25, 26?
Yeah, 25, 26, we're definitely over 10 because
Okay.
of our recent contracts and directions with few big organizations where look, we are not just language learning. Language learning, to be honest, for those people who about to create next language learning app, don't bother. Well, first of all, don't create competition for us. Second, go ahead and create competition for us, but just don't sell it. Give it for free. Language learning is done, not because you, whoever want to create one more language learning app, is doing something wrong. You're doing great. Obviously, your idea would be better than our idea by 5 or 6 degrees. I know that.
Okay.
The problem is that people are spoiled with GPTs and everything. And uh, by GPT, I assume the huge class of different systems, which are absolutely amazing. It's a breakthrough. It's not an AI. It is not an AI.
Okay.
But people assume that they can learn something through all these chatbots and everything, and they wouldn't. But because they know that they will keep procrastinating there, they are not going to use your app paying you money. They're going to use your app not paying you money unless you will bring something that doesn't exist in these systems. We're actually delivering something that does not exist in all this large linguistic models. But this is tough and not much money in this particular sector. I have no idea how many other companies making their living out of selling pure B2C language learning experiences. But us, in most countries, we're either charging $1 a month or don't charge at all. For some countries, I believe that was Indonesia, we actually ran uh, our campaign where we promised and we delivered 400 days free. And we also the first app that allows you to work with audio, voice, and deep analysis before you enter your credit card, sign up with Apple Pay or something like that. It just works. You download it, it works. We are merit based. Once you start getting certain deliveries, once you start getting certain performances, then we're gently asking like, okay, so why don't you consider give us just a little bit? What we need money for? What we need money for is authors who creating content for you. They have to get paid.
Right.
So that's number one. Number two, uh, why is the 10 mil plus? Is because we are Oracy training program, and if you're learning from English to French, from French to Ukrainian, from Ukrainian to Japanese,
Right.
this language learning. If you're learning from English to English, from French to French, it's an Oracy training as well.
Okay.
And imagine that you have your company, and your company has 500 people in your call center, and you somewhere, let's assume in India, and your question is like, hey, I want to teach my people how to speak different dialects. They have beautiful English, but they want to talk different dialects. For example, if customers coming from United States or from UK or from Australia, it is okay to have different accents. People don't mind. But how about all the other different things, cultural things, how you communicate, how you stop the conversation, how you sensing the aggressiveness of the conversation. Training. It's an Oracy training. That's what we do, and this is our biggest bread and butter.
Okay, so the knowledge training piece is what's the key for Voxen.
It
Yeah.
is correct. It is correct. Oracy, social emotional learning, and knowledge training.
Okay, okay, awesome. And I did download the app, the link that you sent me, and I went there. There was no fee, no charge, and I was
Oh,
full access. And there was just some things going up and down, telling me how I'm feeling, and just so much data. And yeah, and it didn't ask me for a credit card or for trial or anything. So that's pretty awesome, and I'm still using it right now. I still.
thank you. Which language did you choose? Which language did you go with?
Well, I was looking at the I think it was Japanese,
Oh,
Japanese English. Yeah, that's where
okay.
I'm trending. That's where I'm trending to. So great
Did,
work there.
did you go
So
to the point? Did you go to the point where you have to learn what Tatsukari Mashita means? We have one of the contents that talk about Tatsukari Mashita. Did you go
okay,
there?
not yet, not yet.
Okay.
I just started that piece I just started that. So, what would you say? I mean, you started from scratch. You're debt free. You got about 50 employees. You work worldwide. You're trending in that $10 million range. So, what's next for Voxen? What exactly is your focus as a CEO? What are your interests as you move forward right now?
Um, our interest right now aligns with supporting all the direction that we got. In particular, we are not very happy about the way we are making through to United States school districts so far. We're still learning a lot, and I have 3 kids, so trust me, I know that we do need something to fix with language learning and oracy training and social emotional learning (SEL), which is popular now.
Okay.
And we got lucky. Made it through to Launchpad, one of the events that coming through, one of the biggest events in the country, handled by Hawaii EDU. So that's direction number one. We will keep supporting, and we are pretty much open for school districts. School districts do have money. They are not sure that they want to spend this money on one more experiment. Also, the CI hype is not serving us well because lots of people are associating us. Oh, that's one more AI company. They have this domain, Voxen.ai. Okay, I got it. Well, we are not a purely AI company, to be honest, first. Second, we are not even sending data to other companies. In most of the cases, we are not sending data everywhere, anywhere. We are just handling everything for yourself, but it requires energy. Number two, keep growing HR sector where we have Oracy training, candidate assessment, and people who just want to train themselves uh, within the company to be better in what they do if it involves speaking, listening, and emotion expression analysis. Department of Defense and government contracts would be something that we would pursue as well,
Okay.
which is behind the brackets of this conversation. Uh, what I can open up about is public safety. Public safety is something where we're looking at right now, and we do have few experiments with in one of the cities in California where uh, we signed an NDA with police department and we installed micro devices on street poles to record audio motions. And crowd would move by, and people still would like to see cameras around, but cameras require lots of bandwidth, maintenance, clean up the camera. 110, you're supposed to connect it to the socket, and our devices are so nimble. They are super small and tiny. You install them, it's still within the public consent of public safety. They're not recording what people are saying. They're analyzing emotions and extracting biometric data of these emotions. And when someone is yelling like, "Oh my gosh, he's going to kill me," or "Let me go," or something like that, that's what's going to fly to the police department put the push notification up and say, hey, there are some people that doing this. Why don't you, send few people, maybe one crew, take a look into what's happening. Maybe it's false, most likely it is, or maybe people already ran away. Um, this is our new thing. We started in November, and we already have prototype version 7. So electrical engineering is our new thing, and this is absolutely new discipline for us too. But the engine, the core is the same. You send data, you compare audio, you're looking for certain events, glass break, gunshots, gun trigger events, and this is something that we will focus in the next 2-3 years for sure, in addition to all the previous sectors.
All right, right, right. That's awesome. So that's a new project that you're taking upon in California to try um this way that you can assess I would say maybe a competition for video camera or cameras.
It is competition. In fact, it's not my words even. One of the persons who introduced us to one of the police departments where we're working,
Right.
and happy to support them. That was his point. It's just like, I mean, one average competition from cameras is 20-25 grand a year per intersection. It comes out of your pocket if you're paying tax in the United States.
Okay.
And for 25,000, we can surround the whole city with lots of sensors, and those sensors are absolutely not involving any privacy or any violations of personal PII data. Nothing. It's just emotional sets. If it falls, it falls. If it's not, it's not. And instead of having 5 cameras, I would rather recommend installing 500 devices for ours. Yes, you don't have the picture, but you have the clear view of what's going on. Plus, we can be chatting outside of my building, right?
Right.
And you would be staying still, looking at me and saying like, "Man, I want to kill you. You ruined my podcast." And I'm like, "Man, please don't kill me." And you're like, "I'm going to kill you." And then 20 minutes, I'm like, "This is your stupid podcast. I'm going to kill you." But we are still staying still, right? Not moving, not not making any sharp moves, anything.
Right.
That's camera for you. Well, audio is different.
Okay. Okay. All right. Okay, that's pretty impressive. I'm looking forward to that. So where can our audience I would say test to technology? They can test it by just download the app on Voccent uh VOCCENT Voccent.
Great. Yes, you don't need any hours training for sure. You're all set. Yes, that's
Right.
correct.
And then
VOCCANT.
right. And then anything you have a website as well, right?
Yeah. So we have web, we have mobile, all the platforms supported. Feel free to download, and we have lots of focus group for different contents. You can join focus groups, and you will never be able to exhaust the amount of content that we will keep providing for you.
Okay. And you a vision target for you is exploring more school district in the United States and getting some of those school districts to kind of maybe test your new technology out and try it.
Yes.
And then you also in a lot of countries around the world, very few that you're not, or people that are not using your apps. So I'm thinking, that's a great advantage. So great work there. For the most part, just want to throw it back at you to say, any last words or anything you want your audience to know about Voccent before we go.
Um, remember, it doesn't matter how far we'll go with quasi or pseudo AI technologies and everything.
Right.
Every single one of you learning language to communicate with other human beings. You're not going to call uh, government services and talk with AI robot or anything. For that, you don't need to have language. It doesn't matter. They will speak your language soon. Now, you learn language to communicate with humans, and that's why you have to learn from human, augmented by AI, maybe at Voxant, because we are paying very, very, very focused and laser focused attention to how you're expressing your emotions. If you're talking without expressing any emotions, it doesn't matter if you have accent or not. I know people who have no accent, it's very hard talking to them because they're talking like robots. So that's the biggest commitment of Voxen. Listening, speaking, emotions. Try it.
Awesome. 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 Perfect. Let's see.